Greetings. I'm George Boston Ryan with the Get To Free Press, and I'm in Valdosta, Georgia. Earlier this morning, the Honorable Floyd Rose and black contractors came together at Serenity Church. Many people came, mothers, fathers, sisters, grandmothers, children, and they talked about getting some of the $88 to $135 million that will be spent to construct a new school here in Valdosta. 75 to 80% of the students that will be attending that new school will be black Americans. I was there because I want you to know the rest of the story. I was told by Minister Floyd E. Rose that he notified all news media networks in this area. And without criticizing any of our outstanding news media outlets, I'm going to say to you, watch the next video, and as you watch it, then go to Channel 6, Channel 10, Channel 27, and your local newspaper, and read what they publish. Watch the video footage that they publish to the general public. Because after all, you know that there's a great controversy in terms of how contracts was handled in the initial and current process of building that new school. So once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. I'm not here to criticize. I'm not here to condemn. I'm only here to say to you that if others ignore the issues and concerns in the black community, then you yourself must pick up your camcorder, your telephone, and report your story, because we have waited for over 500 years in North America to be treated fair and balanced, and we see that it seems as if though the old Jim Crow mentality is knocking on your back door. Now sit back, relax, and listen. The Ghetto Free Press. We report what others ignore.
Come on in. How many of you all saw the Rodney King thing?
Yeah, that's on good.
Yeah, right. Shut up, that's if you know. Yeah, shut the door, man. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. During the Rodney King trial, there was a trial of the white police officers that beat him within an inch of his life. When they went to trial, they moved the trial to Simi Valley, which was predominantly white town. And the prosecutor, in summing up his argument to the jury, told an interesting story. He said that there was an old alley cat that was looking through a keyhole of an old abandoned run-down house. And the alley cat saw these mice just running around playing, and he said to himself, I tell you what, I'm going to dress up like a mouse. And I'm going to invade this place, and I'm going to snatch one of those mice. And sure enough, he invaded that old run-down, dilapidated shack, and he was about to grab one of those mice, and they backed up and they said, "You're not a mouse. You're a cat. You're not a mouse. You're a cat." And he said, shot through a hole in the wall, and then when he tried to follow them, his costume fell off. He said, we knew it all the time. You were not a mouse. You're a cat. He said, but I told you. I was a mouse. I told you. I was a mouse. Then the prosecutor played the tape where George Holliday from his apartment taped these white men, these police officers who beat Rodney King within an inch of his life. And they ended up dropping the charges. Took him to the hospital in handcuffs, but they ended up dropping the charges. And he said to that jury, now I ask you, after he showed that tape, what do you believe? What you see or what you hear? What do you believe? What you see or what you hear? And I've come to this place today to ask you, what do you really believe? What you see or what you hear? Now let me tell you what they have said. They told us to hear. And they did everything humanly possible to make sure that blacks got some of the contracts. That's what they said. They said they did everything that they possibly could to make sure blacks got some of the contracts and local contractors got some of them. They refused to meet with me. And we told them for a whole year that the black contractors asked SCLC to represent them. You know why they would meet with me? Because they didn't want to meet with anybody that they said no. And I know what they did, I know how they did it. And we can prove it. Did you bring your stuff? You bring one of those sheets with you? Oh, do that, please. And I want to show you something, and that's why I asked him. I want to say something else as he comes. God, when your motives are pure and your cause is just and your goals are reasonable, God will always send to you people that you don't know. Amen. Who know what you don't know, who can do what you can't do, and they're willing to do it for you. Amen. Somebody sent me something today on the computer, and we've been trying to figure out a way to run it off, but we haven't been able to do that. But listen, it's everything. What these contractors have done, how they did it, and how they just manipulate the black community, they manipulated the school board who knows absolutely nothing. Bring it up.
Are you talking about this or the?
No, I'm talking about what you did.
Right.
You ain't got it. Get out.
I can't go that one.
You got one on. Don't let the thing he did. I'm gonna tell you what's on there. He assured. Black people, black contractors, got 1% of 1% of the $80+ million that was allocated to build that school out. And yet, when they wanted the E-Flush pass, who do you think they came to? They came to the black community because we always vote for taxes and white folks don't. We passed that, beat our feet through the streets, knocked on doors to get that done. You think that I would have done that if I thought they'd do what they did? Warren Lee on the school board just kept telling me, don't worry about it, we got it, we're going to make sure. They ain't made sure nothing. We got absolutely nothing. 1.1% of $80 million, that's what we got. $477,888 worth of work. Now face and say this is fair. They can't do it. That's why they didn't want to meet with me. They can't do it. You say, well, is it legal? I don't know. Don't even care. You know why? Segregation was legal, but it was immoral and it was wrong and it was unfair. Slavery was legal, but it was wrong, immoral, and unfair. What Hitler did to the Jews in Germany was legal, but it was immoral and it was unfair to millions of Jews. When King was marching through the streets of the South, segregation was legal, but it was immoral and unfair. What this Board of Education has done may be legal, and I'm not sure it was legal. You don't listen to that. I'm not even sure what they did was legal, but I know it was unfair, and I know that it was immoral. Okay. You can't say I'm gonna pass this around. This is what they got, and this is what black folks got. I'm gonna pass it on to you to see it. Now, I want to say one other thing about it. The power of the people, or in the people, is always more powerful than the people in power. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. They told me that they believe. You'll tell you. They said that all the time. I didn't believe it. Because when you're right and know it, and you're wrestling with a bear, you can't get tied till the bear gets tied. Else he's going to eat you up. And they always tell you that it's over. And if you listen to that, you'll always, I got a long letter in there, and I meant to bring it out here, and I'll bring it to show you. They said, it's over, y'all forget it. We ain't gonna forget nothing. I remember in Toledo, I wrote to contractors. They were building a building in Toledo on the campus of the university in Toledo. I said, y'all ain't got no black folks on the job, and I want to see something out there Monday morning. They didn't respond, didn't write me back, didn't answer my telephone calls. I took 2 dump trucks out there and shut the site down and waited. Police came and asked me to move the trucks. I said, no, sir, I can't do that. Well, we can go to jail. I said, well, I might as well go to jail. These folk ain't got no job. They can sit in jail too. Ain't got nothing to do. Well, it's really not our problem, so they turned it over to the university. The university police officer came and said, Reverend, can you move? I said, no, I'm not moving anything. Do whatever you have to do, but we're not moving the trucks until somebody tells me they're going to have some black folks on the job Monday. This was Friday. So he said, well, babe, we know we don't want to arrest you. So then here comes another little lawyer. By that time, I was eating my lunch. He wanted to talk. He didn't have no cell phones in there. It was 1982. I said, listen, I'm busy. Wait over there on the tree until I finish my lunch. So he did. Sit over there watching him. I took my time. Then he came. And he said, the lawyer, the contractors are meeting, and they want to meet with you at 5 o'clock. And they said, if you, I said, no, sir, you tell me y'all going to have somebody on the job Monday, and I'll move the truck. Be glad to meet with you. He went back, came back, and they said they'd have somebody out there. I said, well, that's fine. So I moved the trucks, and I met with them. My lawyer came, and they had the biggest and best lawyers in town, from Kendrick, Loop, and Shoemaker. That's the largest law firm in all of Northwest Ohio. And I was there, my lawyer was there, and they first started out trying to talk about what I had the right to do. I said, no, this isn't about me. Why don't y'all go in the room and just let me talk to these folks? They did. And I pulled my chair up and I said, listen, I don't want to hear nothing about ain't nobody qualified. I don't hear nothing about none of that, because white people do whatever you want to do, and then you make it right. Do it. Whatever you have to do to fix it, just fix it. Well, I said, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. You can fix it if you want to fix it. Y'all do what y'all want to do. It's your time. This is your country. Fix it. But we ain't moving no trucks until you fix it. contracts. And one young man, Levi Cook, became a millionaire out of one job because they fixed it. Now, based on the information I got, right now, the Board of Education can say to the major contractors, listen, y'all give these folks some jobs. They passed the spike. It ain't nothing about being black, it's about being fair. Our unemployment rate is 17.5% and rising. Their unemployment rate is 6.5% and falling, and it's more of us than it is of them. And you tell me what they've done is fair? Fix it. Just fix it. And that's what we're going to tell them to fix it. You ready to that? All right, come on.
Got my notes here. My name's Al Whitfield. I moved here to Valdosta January, just after my mom's passing. My wife had been working here. My wife had been working here in at the Home Depot, and had been transplanted to Atlanta. I had moved to Waycross to take care of my mom for 6 years. Quit my job in North Carolina and decided to spend some time with her. Since moving here, I've taken little side jobs, keep things rolling along, but really spent the past 14 months getting re-engaged in my internet services and business management consulting business. I had been doing that prior to in Atlanta from the time I was economic development director for the city of Atlanta prior to the Olympics from 95 to 2002. So all the development in Atlanta that you see now is a result of my efforts. And I was just a bureaucrat, middle level, wasn't a commissioner, was just deputy director of economic development and community development for the city of Atlanta. And that is where, to tie into what Reverend Rose is saying, that is where the deals are actually made, and the structure, and the contracting, and the policies and procedures of how deals get done in city government. Okay, Atlanta, because of the nature of leadership, was able to, starting with Maynard Jackson, was able to transform the culture of how you do business. What we're attempting to do here in Valdosta is the same thing. We have to change the culture as to how the white business community does business with African American business. That's basically it. Now we have the situation here with the superintendent of the school board who is now African American. I don't know if it was in the past or whatever. You have a number of board members. And it is now upon us, we have a dual task. We have a dual task of winning legitimate contracts for businesses that can do the job and deliver the services and products. And we also have the task of educating those folks that are on the board and in those positions of power in the bureaucracy as to how they have to change the culture, the mindset, the morality, the ethics of doing business with the African American community. Right now, we're sharecropping again. We went out, we picked the votes. We harvested the votes to get the SCLC passed. That's our money. So now, as in any business scenario, we're saying, what's our return on investment? Our investment is in hard dollars that we spend at McDonald's or Diggity's or Big Nick's, or wherever we pay taxes, we're funding that opportunity, that business opportunity that they have a say-so over. We elect them. There's that other binding obligation. We are citizens. We contribute hard dollars overall well-being to the community. Our children attend school here, all of those things. We are the city. So it has to change. We have to get that dynamic going in terms of changing the culture and mindset of the white business community and the city government. I sit on the board of the Southern Georgia Regional Commission Revolving Loan Fund. Prior to my sitting on that board, they had done no loans to African American businesses. They've done 3 over the past 3 years. I've been able to get 1 deal a year done. Business over in Douglas, 1 over in Quitman, and 1 over in Savannah. All got SBA funded loans to expand their businesses. This is just pure, I need a building because my business is growing and I need some equipment type of financing. So it's possible to change the culture. And I'm sitting on a board, I'm the only black person there, so it's not a matter of votes. It's a matter of presence and understanding the language and the rules of the game by which they're playing. So what they were faced with here in Valdosta is where the procurement officer and the chief operating officer that may sit right below the superintendent that make the fundamental staff recommendations to the board members are the elements that guide and govern the decisions by which the board just rubber stamps. That's all they do. Because they rely on staff, and rightly so. That's why you're paying them to be experts and to understand. But it's clear that they are subject, the integrity has been compromised. And the culture is such that we don't have any minority businesses capable in Valdosta of doing the work. That's a classic argument. Just as an aside, my dad worked with Reverend Leon Sullivan in the early 70s at OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Center out of Philly. He was a comptroller, financial officer. He then went on to Prudential as a bond trader. You know, you hear about dudes buying bonds and selling bonds. He said, I'm just making other white folk rich, okay? He said, give me, rather than do that, give me $10 million in a fund, and I'll start a fund that will do investments in African American communities, and we will get minority businesses to do the work. Right in Newark. Prudential is based in Newark, New Jersey. Started what he called a social investment fund. That social investment fund grew into the National Minority Supplier Development Council and their subsequent minority supplier development groups. They're scattered across the United States. So I just grew up in this. So, and it was coincidence. I do this because I'm tying it all together. My family had our family reunion right over in Serenity Hall, okay, this past July. We watched the video, Reverend Rose. I said, I gotta come see this guy. I gotta check him out. Came by the church, started talking, one thing led to another, and that's why I'm here. So, we're here today to try to figure out, collectively, how we can change the culture of the business community in Valdosta.
Let me ask you about this. We got 4 of the 9 people that sit on the board, I believe it's 9. 4 of them are black. We put them there. They got not a single white vote. They got there because black folk put them there. Now, I don't blame the white folk. They represent white folk. But the black folk don't represent us.
Right.
Without us, they wouldn't be there. I don't know why they feel an obligation to keep going along with what white folk tell them. None of this is their idea, none of it. It's the idea of people who are white. Now explain that to me.
That is, again, I can only pull from my experience. In 1973, I went to Atlanta, started my freshman year at Morehouse. But I also, I didn't have a church home at the time. And being young and open to the world, I joined the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Okay? And, you know, you talk about being radicalized in terms of your thought. Yeah, I was radicalized in that, and all it did was it exposed me to understanding Black Christian nationalism, how to culturally identify and awaken yourself, understand your history and how it relates to the future and who you are presently. So all of that kind of moves me in a direction of encountering people that have a declaration of inferiority. And how do you address that? And I guess it's a situation where you have to pull them aside and allow them to save face. Okay? Because right now, they're out front. They feel obligated in some way to do certain things because of the being responsible members of the community, citizen, politic posture that they are now carrying. So it's a thing of they believe that assimilation is a pathway to success. They figure if I act like them, I'd be all right. And I can successfully change the culture of the operating environment that I'm in. Right now, we all know, just from our own, we can all probably find those experiences and opportunities where we had those choices to make. I could have stayed in North Carolina and merely sent money to take care of my mom, but I made a financial decision and commitment to where you give up everything and you take the riskier road. Any of us could have continued on and worked at a job at another company and been an employee, but you took the road of starting your own business and daily putting everything on the line. Your family's wealth, your personal wealth, you know, your children, generational opportunity. You do it every day. So what we have to do is educate those board members and that superintendent and those other staff members at the Board of Education and educate them to understand the risk that we're taking, and all we want is our return on investment in terms of community effort and the business effort that we do every day in terms of providing for our families, in terms of owning a business. That's what it's about. And, go ahead.
I'm going to say that Mr. Travis came in, I would appreciate it if he would share with us some of what he said.
Yeah, please, if you were ready to go. Okay, but essentially, yes, ma'am?
Could you please state your name?
Oh, Al Whitfield, Alfonso Whitfield.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. But either way, that's the challenge we're facing. So the key is certainly through consistent editorials in the newspaper, in terms of social media, you know, utilize Twitter and Facebook to get the message out to constantly, so that wherever they go, there is the message and it's clear. And it only needs to be 4 or 5 talking points. This is incorrect. It's got to change.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I had to go to work this morning. I was asked to join this committee to bring everybody abreast on what's going on with this situation with the Valdosta High School project. I've been following this construction project in its infancy before the first sketch was even drawn. It's going to be a large project, a lot of money involved, and it should have been a lot more community effort as to the aspect of our board members. What they have done literally is taken approximately $50 million of our hard-earned money away from us. I don't see how they could do it because they went back on the things that were already set aside and agreed upon between certain people in the community, which would, if they would have went with the first agreements, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But due to our board members, they reneged on all the promises they made to the community through the SPLOTS plan. Please give us the money so we can do this. We gave them what they wanted, but now in the end, they turned their back on us. Moreover, with what the board has done, it's going to entail a 30-year debt for this community. We're talking about a 30-year bond on approximately $80 million. Who's going to have to pay for that? We are. Have any of you looked at your property taxes? Paid those this year? Quite high, aren't they? This is some of the residual effects of this. That's just the beginning. Even with the SPLOTS plan, it's only a penny, but if you can extrapolate a penny over 30 years, that's a lot of money. Your tags for your cars, when you get ready to go buy your tag, those fees have increased, all due to the fact of this new project. Henceforth, we as a community, we can't have this to occur. We have some members on our board who really don't even know what they are actually doing or what they have done. I've been in the construction business pretty much on and off all my life. I've been in commercial construction since 1993, and I've dealt with all kinds of contracts agreements. I've read and proved the contract agreement between the BOE and JCI Parish Group. And in that agreement, there are some areas that, to the unknown, which some of my board members are, very unknown. They're being robbed, or we're being robbed, as a community of funds that should have been allocated, not only to the black community, which we are all in dire need of these funds, but to the community itself. What has happened, they have given us a piece of the pie, but they've kept the majority of the pie to themselves, $50 million. And in those $50 million, what has occurred, they went to their prime subcontractors, the ones who pretty much they deal with all the time in the construction areas, the masonry areas, and the painting areas. In those three areas right there, that's where most minorities over the years have been dominant in our skills, in our labor. Concrete, brick and block, painting, in other areas, but they have depleted due to the fact of the immigration problem. So what has happened in those areas where the blacks could have gained more favor, just like, is Mr. Rayford here today? How's it going, Mr. Rayford? Even in his contractual agreement, when he was cut, $20,000 in the painting project, $20,000. But what is still at the bottom of the contractual agreement, it shows that the company that they gave it to, they let them stick in what is called an alternate bid. The original bid was for $700 and something odd $1,000, but in the bottom part of the contract, in the fine writing, they opted out at the end to drop their contract to $550 some odd $1,000, and that's what killed you. That's what took you out. Dealing in contractual agreements, once your bid is in, you're not supposed to change it.
That's right.
It's etched in stone. It's almost like the Ten Commandments. Ran into the problem they were doing state middle school down here. Company out of Orlando came in my backyard and beat me out of his job for about $23,000. I asked the guy who actually, Elkins, the ones who did Pineville Lomax over here. Same company. I said, how can this guy come in my backyard from Orlando, Florida, and do it cheaper than me for $20,000 cheaper, and I'm only 17 minutes away from the actual job. He said, well, Mr. Cox, that's just the way things go. He was the low bidder. That's what happens. I said, that's fine. I'll try you on another. What entailed in that same project was a lot of problems. Played with problems. Same company, when you got the low max time, played with problems. The school you see there now isn't the actual school that was supposed to be, that was drilled, withdrawn. It's not. They eliminated a lot of things on that school to cut costs. And they're going to do the same thing with JCI, with this, to cut costs. If you go back and look through the contractual agreement between BOE and JCI Parish Group, it's possible, within the numbers, it's possible that they could actually walk away with more than $12 to $15 million with the way they have their contractual agreement signed. Most of that money is going to come from those three areas: your masonry, your painting, and your concrete. What they did is they took the numbers from most of the local bidders, Ace Electric, Robinson Masonry, all the upscale local contractors here, pulled their numbers, and then what they had them do is re-coordinate their numbers so their prime subs can get it. So it's like, you wash my back, I wash yours. They looked out for their people, but our good board could not look out for us. It's not the first time this has happened. The reason I'm here is because I've been dealing with situations like this for years. You know, how can these people come beat me out of these jobs on a fair playing game? They can't do it because it's not economically feasible. In the black community, as a contractor, when you go bid your job, when you're talking to anybody, there's certain criteria you're going to have. You're always going to have, first thing, you got your workers' comp, you got your general liability, you got your tax number. You know, all those things, they make us go and get it. But to the others, they don't have to do that.
So, Travis, let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Wayne Myers. So, I heard everything you said. I heard what you said before. What's the resolution
Okay.
to stop these things?
This is my thing. What we need to do as a community, this is going to have to be a community effort. There was a movie that came out years ago called Harper Valley PTA. They went through the same circumstance, all under the same type of category, where as the people in the community were disgusted with what their board was doing. So what they did, they went to old school. Everybody got out, let's get us some signatures. Just like you can get rid of your president, you can get rid of those guys at the same time also. You know, you get them, well, like Mom used to walk up and pinch you a little bit. You know, that'll give them an understanding. That'll open their eyes to let them know. Next thing to do, Valdosta is predominantly known for its football athletics. You got some kids going to school, don't let them play. Say no. We can't get some of this money. I'm not going to have my kid run up and down this football field for you. May fall out dead or something. What are you going to give me? A pat on the back, a handshake, buy him a flower for his funeral? That's it. Valdosta has made billions of dollars because of that school. And what most people don't realize is that Valdosta High School, it was a high school, but it never became a successful school until they integrated. So when they went to over there to Pineville and got all those guys, that's when Valdosta High School got great. So they can't give us a piece of the pie, we'll alleviate your greatness. You can't work with us, we can't work with you. When school starts, how many of you have small children going to school now?
Right.
Okay. You go out to the schoolhouse, they send you a sheet with about $80 to $120 with the items you have to buy. Don't buy it. If you're going to take our money and just throw it away like this, hey, it seems to be you have plenty of money. So you're going to suck us up on this end with some money. You're going to run our kids up and down this football field like a pack of mules and then expect us to stand by and say, well, that's okay. It'll be all right. No, it's not okay. Not at all. Because it's not right. It's not ethical. You know, it's not moral, as you say. That's what should be done. You just put those bugs, well, we're gonna have a problem. The blacks aren't gonna let their children play football. You won't give the black parents any money. I was talking to my aunt, who's one of the county commissioners here in the house. She was telling me about how our good superintendent speaks of, he keeps everything transparent. You know, we gotta talk, we gotta keep everything transparent with the people in the community. But he must not be as bright as he is. Because in these documents, if I can find it, they should know. You know, if you don't know something, you ask somebody. We have people up there, they just want to sit there and just dictate authority without not having to understand. They don't understand. I doubt either or any of them have any type of construction industry background, blueprint reading, or anything of those natures.
Correct.
So what they should have done, they should have went and gotten an outside consultant.
That's right.
Say, well, help us along in these areas that we don't know. It's people in the community.
Yeah, let me ask you this
Yes.
question, since I'm new to this and you're very close to it. With regard to federal funding at the overall school board level,
Right.
this is only because my memory is fading, but the policy rule when I was working at the city of Atlanta was that the city received any grants in any way, shape, or form from the federal government, then federal procurement rules apply.
That's correct.
So any money, so using that same logic, if any money that the Board of Education has received from the federal government, regardless of its category,
Right.
the policy of the federal government procurement policy should apply also, so that the moot issue that was in the reply to Reverend Rose of they have to accept the lowest bid is in fact the lowest qualified bid, which means and that's where, that is, I think, the crack in the door or an armor as to getting even more concrete, literally, into the procurement process, getting that superintendent down, and as a basis of policy and in fact law, forcing them to redo the situation.
And what you're saying, you are correct. This is how that works. It's common knowledge that we're understood in certain contractual agreements that you accept rules. Even in this contractual agreement between the DOE and the JCI, some of the low bidders weren't accepted. They were just kicked out.
Amen.
It is not necessary, it does not necessitate the lowest bidder have to bid because due to his qualifications. Even in the masonry area that me and my mentor, we diligently went for, the one who received the actual contract is not, how can I put it? Is not overall qualified. The guy can't even read. And I could probably take these blueprints page for page and probably cross the street. I stack them on the floor there.
All right.
It takes two guys to carry one set. Can you read him? Nah. The guy that's working with him right now, he said he had the opportunity to work with him for a while. It just didn't pan out. I said, well, what kind? He said, well, he didn't do anything. You ever seen this movie? He said, you can't read it. You can't read it. You can't read it. Now, in the newspaper, Parents Group said that there weren't any qualified minority contractors in Lowndes County. Come on, please.
Yeah.
You can ride right down Border Street and see some of my work. West Gordon School. You go out to the mall, the new section of that, hey, who did it? Go out to the school that my daughter and my son was. You walk in there, who did it? Excellent. Well put together. When I finished West Gordon, I had to sign I think it was a 5 or 10-year indemnity clause. If anything went wrong, I would have to come back and pay for it. Not one phone call in 8 years. Not one. The other one that he did, not one phone call. Have you ever seen any problems going on in the new part of the mall out there? No, no problems.
professional wording you used,
Yes,
the problem we're having today,
yes.
same problem we had 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, it's actually worse.
Worse.
Okay. So in layman terms, what should we do? What do we need to do to get out of this hole? I know you talked about the football team,
We
you
need
spoke
to.
on the kids and all this stuff, but I'm just trying to say for the contractor now. In layman terms, I know if you're not qualified, the Lord begs, even the Lord's bidders don't always get the job.
That's
You
right.
understand that?
Mhm.
So we need something in layman's terms that we can come together on, like you stated,
Mhm.
and try to work this thing through and get it done so it won't happen again tomorrow or next week, if we can have it.
That's what we're here for. That's
That's
what,
what, in layman's terms.
it starts like this. Just like this. And we get the message out that, you know, we can't take this anymore. You know, the buck stops here. We're as a community, we're just gonna have to dictate to our Board of Education members that, hey, you guys aren't doing your job. We need to get you out.
So that's number one. Board
That's the
education.
first thing needs to be
That's
done.
right. And we-
And what has to happen, once you get these notes to them and say, we're gonna just let the city decide if you should stay. It's a public action. So what they're gonna have to do as a community, we're gonna have to get these signatures and get them to them. And get it out of the newspaper. We're gonna take a register on getting the Board of Education out. Because that's where the problem lies. You get them out of the way, then we can take some of our normal citizens that we have in the community and set aside an interim board. Get the contract between Board of Education, JCI Parish Group. We can get that contract nixed the same way they did the one with Elvis. It's not a problem. In the newspaper, the girl said, I forgot I left her in trouble. She said it's nothing that can be done. Yes, it's something that can get done. You know, they can kill the contract. Whoever the local bidders were who got their bid, let those guys keep that money.
Bottom line, the Board of Education only got the power.
They got
Amen.
it. We have the power. They just control it at the present
Because we gave it to them.
because we gave it to them. The same way we gave it to them,
Right.
the same way they were elected in there, we can also
Take it
elect them
back.
right back out through public action. And through the public action, therefore you can set up an interim board. They can set in place what we need as a minority group and also as a communicable effort. And then we can get this thing on the road. Because it's a 2-year project plus.
Wait. Because you seem to have a handle on the contract that were awarded to someone, is there one in particular that was awarded to someone else that a black contractor put in for that's questionable?
Oh, yes.
That can be proven?
Yes.
Or that the layperson can look at it and determine that this wasn't right?
Yes, it's in the number.
And then the specifics of it not being right is laid out that the normal person can. And people asking, what do we do now? If there was, I think in my mind, if there was one, just one, that we could focus on,
We can.
that wasn't awarded properly, I think that should.
I was gonna say, do we have any relationship or have we had any discussions with an attorney that understands construction law?
I have not. I think John Roberts may have had. I have not.
Okay, that's where we gotta go.
Yeah.
Because that, then, you know, the objective is they would delay installing the public process, but if we can jam up the contract in court in some fashion, and
Yes.
that's not an unusual thing,
No, it's
because
not.
contractors challenge other contractors
All the time.
and awards for contracts all the time.
It happened here. At the judicial building. Original contract on that job was awarded by G.B.R. out of Tallahassee, Florida. I think he's based out of Tallahassee. He originally had gotten that contract, but through public manipulation, as one could say, they had him rebid due to the fact that criminal crime owned by Law Bill wanted it. So once they rebid it, he was awarded a contract, but Peter Brown, in turn, was going to sue under the same pretext. I had it first, why did you take it back? So what they had to do, might have to do it in the same situation. You're gonna have to give away a little money, just like they had to do
And
that. It was between $700 and $1 million.
But given what you just laid out, in order to, how should I say, neutralize the counterattack from JL Parish or whoever, JCI Parish,
Well,
we have to push them into a corner to where they don't want to get into this fight. And you see what I'm saying? And get them to say, because they're on a thing of, we want to get this contract.
yeah.
Let's find a place for the minority contractors. They have an incentive to do business because it's a cost plus contract. So the more minority contractors that come in, the expanded pie, there are probably pieces within the contract that haven't been determined yet, like FF&E, technology stuff, other items,
Yeah.
that we can basically carve a niche and get a substantially larger piece of that contract.
In the contract agreement, they have set aside some money for that. Now, let me explain to you how they got and what they're going to do with this money. Good point that you brought up. In the contractual agreement that they have, originally stated in the newspapers, JCI Parish Group is only supposed to receive a little bit over, say about $1.3, $1.5 million to overall supervise this project. But at the end of the contract, their profit margin shows somewhere around $2.2 million. This is where they need some of the money. The two areas in the appendix of it, they have what they call construction contingency. Are anybody familiar with the word contingency? Contingency is what if.
A license deal.
We got this what if money over here, so we don't have to use this money. It's ours. That's one section. Another section, they have something there about some asphalt, $200,000, $5,000 for some kind of protection keys is and some other stuff. Okay, all those adds up to 3-point-some-odd million dollars. You take those 2.2 that they're guaranteed, plus the 3.3 in the contingency funds, plus what they did, they took a material and a supervision fee for the concrete.
That's right.
And the masonry. You see the picture? You have a masonry contractor who can't read blueprints. So what they do, they say, well, we'll sit some money over here so we can guide you along. Now what they told us to do, you bid the whole thing.
The whole and a trailer.
The whole thing.
Oh, they could have put you under the same agreement.
Listen, so you got $2.2 million guaranteed profit. Another $3.3 million in just allocated contingencies. Took out another $1.6 million in the, I think it was in the concrete, and like 1.3 or 1.6 in the
Administrative management.
in the masonry area. So if you take the 1.6, 1.6, the 3.3, and the 2.2,
Band-Aid,
how much money is that?
8 to 10 million.
Yeah. And let alone 10%.
Now those are just in those areas. Those are just in concrete and
Man, you talking about HVAC, electric.
oh, that's a horse of another color. Even in the painting contract.
No, he wants to speak.
Oh, sorry, say go ahead.
Young man, please.
Was it unknown man, Lucius Dickey, evangelist, and Reverend Rose allowed me to operate my operation out of this church, but I also retired Air Force. I spent 20 years in Air Force race relations and investigation. And I hear Brother Myers saying, what is the resolution? I'm kind of new, like he said, I'm on the outside looking into what's all going on here. But just listen to some of the presentation, I heard 3 things. And you was asking if you came in my office in the Air Force with this particular complaint over that thing. And you're looking for resolutions. I've seen so many young brothers and sisters railroad in the military. And one thing that always stops with the documentation.
Yes.
I've seen so many people with racist mentality come in my office and say, I want to put this troop out. First thing I would ask them, want to know some steps here, documentation. I heard it's been going on for a long time. I will come back to the bodies here to say, You say, where's the Carfax? Where's the documentation? Because everything starts with documentation. This game has gone on for so many years in the history of black history. Man. Some of you in the military, we didn't kick off in the Air Force dealing with race relations 1973. But I met brothers who've been in there before 1973. Tell me your war stories, how you've been railroaded in so many ways. So I will go back to the system, so where's the documentation? Another thing I heard here was about how this contract tends to be centered on qualified, correct me if I'm wrong, building the lowest contract and qualified. And I know you probably looked into it. I'd like to see you got some legal things looking into this. What is the qualification? That's another thing I'll keep. Has anyone really sat down and said, this is the reason, you may be able to elaborate on it, this is the reason, because that's been used for the history of black history. That's why so many go to school get education, because people always say, we are not qualified.
All our life.
We're not qualified all life. So, what I would say, look at what the criteria for qualification. I heard you say something about the bid. You said y'all made your bid, but someone underlined and made bids based upon what people told them to bid.
Yes.
That is discrimination. That's discrimination according to the federal guidelines. So that's the things I'm just throwing out to the table. Everything starts with documentation. If this has been going on for a long time, where's the documentation? Ain't written down.
Are y'all on the same page as a police group? What I'm saying, we don't say that because we discussed this, but I don't see very many contracts here. All y'all on the same page because I was expecting for the city. There's a lot of dissension between some contracts. So what I'm saying, you are strengthening the numbers.
Yes.
And all y'all,
The ones who
That qualifies.
The ones who qualify and know that they're capable of achieving this, yes, they are. Mr. Rayford, Mr. Wright, the electrician.
you know how important network is.
Most definitely. Yes, sir. Yeah, just like I talked to, I spoke to Mr. Rayford, and I talked to his brother, I passed him an understanding on it, John, and I keep everybody abreast of what's going on to the best of my capabilities in my little circle. But, it has to go farther than that, because we've been railroaded like this too long. It's just economically unfeasible for this situation just to transgress like it has. Yes, sir.
All that being said, at the end of the day, each and every man and woman in here, how far you gonna go? It's gonna be sacrifice. How far? See, I'm gonna tell you something. They're gonna turn the fire up. The fire gonna go up, but how much you would sacrifice?
And it's funny that you said that, because most of the time in the black community, we're like, oh, well, you did not say that they're gonna do something. They're gonna hurt you. It's nothing they can do to me.
Nothing.
See, my doctor told me I was supposed to die about 8 years ago, but I'm still standing here kicking. So hey, what can you do? You can't take my skill. You can't take it with you. It's already there. So I'm one of those gonna be here because I'm tired. My son's sitting right there. When he's gone, they'll still be paying for this thing. So let us get some of this right now. Now I talked to my mom. I said, Mom, I don't, Reverend Rose and guys, they want me to come to speak, but you know how these folks is around here. You start opening your mouth, then they want to like this. I've been a black man all my life.
Easy to be on the black list.
They're going to do what they want to do, as long as they want to do it. But see, one thing about it, fear.
That's the word.
Everybody's scared. Everybody wants to stand behind the corner and talk about something. I'm not that kind of guy. And anybody who knows me can tell you. If I've got something I want you to know, I'm going to tell you, I don't care how you take it. I'm that kind of person. I was raised that way. So yeah, they may say, well, that old boy, he went down there and he went running his mouth. We might not want to use him. I don't care. It don't make me no difference. Because God gave me a skill that I can take around the world. Ain't nobody take it from me. And they know that. I'm already blacklisted. I've been blacklisted since the day.
Since you learned your skill?
And then I shared this with Reverend Rose the other day. I'm currently vendor for 8 educational projects with a strategic partner of mine, another African-American firm based in Atlanta. And we do nothing but technology stuff in terms of running fiber optic cable in the ground. They do that part, and I provide the internet, the actual electronics and the software to deliver internet connectivity. We've been on a job in Birmingham, and one over in my hometown, Waycross, and 6 others across the state. All of them what they call E-rate. Those are the taxes that you pay on your cell phone, and we all pay those taxes. We know how we use our cell phones. Those E-rate funds have the same discretionary power as the SPLOST funds. City of Valdosta's Board of Education has not submitted a project for E-rate funds yet. Okay. Now, probably collectively amongst everyone here, we have the necessary skill sets to say we want to provide all of the technology and internet connectivity to the school, which probably hasn't shown up in the construction contract in terms of defined line items. And that would be, if anywhere it may be hidden, it might be hidden under FF&E.
Yeah, equipment.
Equipment and other things. See, I'm talking about Hewlett-Packard, Dell computers, networking systems, fiber optic cable, all that has to connect.
Very low.
Yeah, exactly. Ethernet. Okay, we're talking Ethernet, it's going to have to have some clean power, because given the number of computers that are going to be in that school, and given that it's a high school, there's going to be a computer. There are going to be 10 to 15 computers throughout the entire school. So there's going to need to be clean power to support the network operations center for that school. That's probably anywhere from $3 to $8 million in contractual value of that loan. In addition to residual income off of the internet connectivity. Collectively, it may be, and I'm going to research this a little further, and we say, we've identified a source of funding to help y'all save face, and at the same time, provide for the group collectively to earn, and if we were to earn a 10% to 20%, that's better than 1/1000% currently in the deal. Yeah. And that's
For over 500 years in North America, to be treated fair and balanced. And we see that it seems as if though the old Jim Crow mentality is knocking on your back door. Now sit back, relax, and listen. You get on Free Press. We report what others ignore.